Ranjeet. I'm great. How are you doing?
Wonderful, wonderful.
Awesome. Are you ready for some questions today?
Absolutely.
Okay, great. First up, we have an anonymous member asks, I moved to the US for a postdoctoral position 1 year ago during my PhD in India. I presented at 10 international conferences, published 2 papers in journals, and obtained 2 patents. However, I haven't published anything yet during my postdoc with my US professor. Recently, I became a parent and am considering whether I should file for EB1A immediately. I have received awards for best paper and scholarships in India, and my citation score is 125.
Oh, congratulations. I think you have, let me start off by saying that you have a wonderful citation score of 125. It definitely shows some kind of a original contribution to the field. I think that would be a good take to do. In addition to this, if you have presented at 10 international conferences, even that could go as a scholarly articles. The presentation, there was a recent, not really recent, in 2022 March, if I remember correctly, there was a policy kind of update actually regarding USCIS had given for EB1A and EB1B, which stated that one could potentially, even one could give a script or a submitted papers, and that could constitute as scholarly articles. So that's wonderful. You have. It's not about you publishing today or yesterday or day after tomorrow. I mean, it's not about that. It's about whether you are deemed to be an expert in your field of expertise. That's the whole idea that is being calibrated here. If that can be established, but yes, your case will have to get documented by virtue of your expert letters, recommendation letters. You can file it yourself, and also you should you might like to take an advice from a lawyer to submit your petition. I think you might like to look for a lawyer who can serve as your advocate. I think it's a good case to be considered. So wish you all the best. Thank you.
All right, great. Next up, we have Manoj. He says, are letters of recommendation valid over time? If I receive an LOR this year, can I use it for an EB1A application next year? Can I submit different letters from the same employer? What about using LORs from both past and present employers for a critical role? Lastly, can I use a letter obtained after judging an event as an LOR?
Oh, there are too many, I think, questions embedded into one. I think specifically this essentially refers to a letter of recommendations. Now, just to clarify for the benefit of everybody, I mean, there is something called as a letter of recommendation, which normally is used for something like for critical role. Then we have something as a letter of support, which is more, generic in nature. And third would be something like an expert opinion, which is normally ordinarily given for original contribution, or one could possibly try to get some kind of an assessment done for salary. Also, it could be used for that. Now, having said this, in law, what we call something as a statute of limitations, that how long an evidence can be deemed to be a evidence, and there are other pertaining to that other issues, but essentially in this particular case, it will be statute of limitations. Ordinarily, under the law, there may not be any limitation with reference to how old your letter is, but I think the more important would be the relevance of it. I mean, just even if the statute of limitations say it indicates that 3 years back also you can get a letter, but 3-year letter may not be relevant for your EB1A today. That's a whole important, because while it might help to establish that there has been some kind of a sustained acclaim, that is a good idea, but it will speak about the work only till that particular point of time. So, 1 year is not a bad idea. Even I want to confess that some of my own personal letters, when I did it, they were pertaining to 8 to 12 months. So that's not a kind of thing. But more important is to try to get as much as latest letter as possible, because they will talk about your contemporary work actually here. So going specifically, I think the first question, the answer to that is yes. Can I submit different letters from the same employer? Yes. It depends on, if you're using it for critical role, it could be multiple projects that you have handled. So it would definitely be useful for that. What about using LOR from both and past and present employees for a critical role? Absolutely. You will definitely need that. If you are using a particular role from a past employer to be there, you need to do that. can I use letter obtained after judging an event as an LOR? I mean, actually, you don't. If it is you're talking about a letter, it is not a letter of recommendation. Actually, judging is just an evidence that you would be getting. I don't think you can call that as letter of recommendation. So it is a more of a letter of confirmation or something akin to that, which serves as an evidence that you did the judging job. And absolutely, I won't like to call it LOR, but it is just a letter. Can I use a letter after obtaining judging an event? Answer would be in affirmation. Thank you.
All right, thanks. So next up is just a general financial question about the Next League program. I know we always have people come, sometimes they say this program is a bit expensive. So how would you respond to someone who says this program is too expensive?
Well, expensive is a very relative terms actually. But let's understand there are two ways to respond to this question. The first is in terms of the value that you get. So when you want to buy a particular product, there is a value that you get along with that, and it's a perceived value, and some kind of problem that it is getting solved. So, for example, it's not about brand here right now. Unlike you buy a particular vehicle, or you kind of a Rolls Royce, or you buy some kind of expensive purses or dresses. We're not talking of brand of that level. Value in terms of the attributes or some kind of a solution that you are getting out of it. From that perspective, it is one, because we are investing. We are keeping say 5 sessions a week. We are keeping over. So that makes in a 6 months time with one-on-ones and everything put together, you are getting over 100, almost I think 125 sessions, plus you get video, plus all the past sessions. We have over 400 videos, plus we have a lot of material. You don't even have to Google about EB1A. So all this kind of stuff you get, there is a lot of things that go into it in creating that. So there will be a cost involved to it. The second thing that let's look at from when you make any investment, I think you say. I mean, I think Megan, you said that many people come to you and say that this is too expensive. But I think, is it expensive, or we have to try to make sure that it is not seem to be expensive is a relative term, but definitely it is not prohibitive. I think that's first thing that I would say, based on whatever material or whatever the content that it is there. And the second way I would just put it, that what is the cost of you not doing something? So, especially if you don't have a sponsor, if your green card, what can happen to you if you get a green card? That's another point here. So there is a lot of value that will get attached to it. So we have in our program roughly around 17 people have applied right now, and 15 have got EB1A. So your chances of success, if you follow the process, we have an independent report that speaks about the efficacy of the program. So putting all this thing together, one has to take a decision whether the cost of not doing something versus cost of doing something that can add a value to you. And based on that, one can take a decision. But this program is not for somebody, who just wants to try this out. We are looking for people who are completely trained to do something and achieve something. So from that perspective, I would say that definitely it is worth the investment for you if you want to make things happen. I hope that answers the questions, Megan, for you.
Yeah, definitely does. Thanks, Ranjeet. Now we'll move on to the next question from another anonymous member. It says, I have a quick question. My EB1A petition was recently approved, and I'm currently working as a full-time resource with an active H-1B visa. Should I also apply for the I-765 employment authorization and I-131 advanced parole for travel when submitting the I-485 adjustment of status application? Additionally, can we travel to India after filing the I-485 without a travel document, I-131, since we have an active H-1B visa? Your assistance is greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Oh, congratulations for your EB1A approval. I mean, to be very honest, this question is a hyper technical and hyper legal. I would say that I don't want to qualify myself to speak on that. But having said this, from an education perspective, the answer to that is that if you have got when you apply for I-131, I think there's a fingerprinting that happens to you. So, which has to be done inside the USA. It is not done outside the USA. I would suggest that you can finish up all the formalities. and if you believe that you can get it, there is even something called as re-entry permit, which green card holders get normally. Sorry, people do that and then go back to India, and they can even get the re-entry permit couriered to India actually here, and way back wherever you are traveling to. After your fingerprinting and everything is done, I would suggest that you speak to a lawyer. Answer to that looks to me in affirmation as of now. Uh, After filing 485, the answer looks at yes, but without traveling, without a travel document, I would just H1B is a dual intent visa, so it may be possible. Uh, I think it is, so it is valid. You are not going for a stamping or something, so that might be good enough. But just one thing is this, I would just like to add further that since you have mentioned that you got your EB1A petition approved, and I'm not very sure whether you have got your prior any employment-based petition approved like EB2 or EB3, and if you that date is current, you can actually apply for also. So, and you are talking about filing 485, but that would be applicable only if your filing date is current, or you need to have a filing date. So you need to have, just make sure that you have dialed up all the things properly. You can talk to a lawyer, and I think that would be best in my view actually. So congratulations once again.
All right, yeah, congratulations. And next up, another anonymous member. Based on my profile and profession, which visa category should I apply for? I'm a lawyer with a postgraduate master's degree and 10 years of experience in public judicial functions as a state litigator, specializing in criminal and human rights matters. Could a lawyer who graduated from outside the USA successfully apply? Additionally, how can a lawyer prove they meet the national interest? I'm from Latin America and eagerly await your response.
Wonderful. I was aware of. I think I would like to take this question in a very different way actually. When you prepare yourself for EB1A, whether you want to kind of take your qualification as your expertise, or your expertise based on your impact factor has to be different from your qualification, I think it's very important. I'm aware of one particular case of one specific lawyer from India who had applied, and he did not kind of showcase himself as an expert in law or as an attorney. He actually showcased himself as an expert as a small business consultant, because he used to help kind of small companies become big, get funding, and even get listed. These are kind of things that you have to understand, and it looks to me that you are public judicial functions. So what you intend to do, because you have to understand that people don't give you, or USCIS won't give you EB1A because of your qualifications. They would give you based on your expertise, and you would continue that expertise. And the last but not the least is that how would US per se would benefit from it. I think in your case, you need to take a decision, or need to kind of do a little soul searching to identify what is the benefit for the US first in your case. For example, I gave you a case about a specific lawyer who applied from India. I think his case was that he wants to come to USA and help small companies. And US, almost 90% of the businesses are small businesses, and which might like to expand. And he had specific skills for this particular purpose. And his law degree was more used as a currency or as an asset, underlying asset, to showcase his expertise, not the qualification by itself or his expertise. He was not planning to come to USA to represent people or to file case. So I think it looks good, but I think a more deeper analysis is required in this particular case. Thank you.
All right. And next, another anonymous member asks, has anyone here served as a judge for Stevie, Cody, or Globee Awards? I'm interested in understanding if judging for one or more of these awards can serve as evidence for the judging criteria of EB1A. I assume that everyone who's invited to judge receives a participation certificate, but I'm uncertain if these evaluations can be utilized to assess a judge. How does one distinguish themselves in this criterion?
So congratulations for that, and I think the awards are pretty prestigious, I would say that. Having said this, it's people who definitely, if you have been a judge, you will get a certificate of participation as a judge, which is a nice thing. But the key important thing is you are not getting EB1A because you have been a judge. You are getting EB1A because you are an expert. Now, these all criteria, as I have been saying, are just metrics or levers to prove your expertise and sustain a claim over a period. Now, if you say this, I think one of the key important aspects that would become is that you were invited to be a judge because of your expertise. Now, how do you link your expertise to the judge that you were judging certain establishments or individuals based on their expertise? If you are able to establish that, it would make a lot of sense. Otherwise, I think it would not really help you. So yes, we have seen a lot of people applying and using multiple opportunities, and you should also try to explore beyond this. But this will definitely could be leveraged for the purpose of your EB1A application. But remember, this will be just a small, kind of a dot in the overall scheme of things that you are, kind of contemplating. Thank you.
All right, that's all we have for today. Thank you so much, Ranjeet. Appreciate your time.
And wonderful, and thank you. And friends, if you are interested to know more about it or want to be part of this sessions, please write to us. We'll be happy to take you. And if you are interested to participate in the next week program, please reach out to Megan. The link will be given below, and we'll be happy to help you. Thank you very much.